I was halfway through a double bacon cheeseburger, wiping mustard off my chin, when my wife dropped it. "Oh, by the way," she said, like she was mentioning the weather, "Drew's back in town." I froze mid-chew, swallowed hard. "Drew, from high school?" She nodded, stabbing at her salad like nothing was weird. "Yeah, he reached out on Facebook. Said he's visiting for a few weeks." I looked at her. She didn't look up. "Okay," I said slowly. "And?" She finally glanced at me. "He wants to catch up. Grab coffee or something." I told him that's fine. "When?" "Friday. 2 o'clock. That's when I knew. She wasn't asking. She was informing. She'd already set it up. I leaned back in the booth, burger forgotten. "Did you mention you're married?" She gave this tight little smile. "Of course. Don't be dramatic." Then she sipped her water, like that ended the conversation. But it didn't. Not for me. She wasn't telling me out of respect. She was measuring me, seeing if I'd push back, seeing if I'd give her a reason to play the victim. That whole tone she used, cool, casual, just coffee, it was bait. And I wasn't biting. I kept my face neutral. "Sure. No problem." She blinked, surprised. "Seriously?" I smiled, sharp and easy. "Yeah, I trust you." That word landed. She tilted her head, searching my face. "You're okay with this?" "Totally. You want to meet an old friend for coffee? Go for it." She relaxed, shoulders down, fork moving again, like everything was good. But inside, I was already gone. I watched her finish her meal like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just tossed a lit match on our whole damn marriage. Her phone buzzed once, face down on the table. She didn't check it, but I saw the lock screen light up. Could have been anyone, but I knew better. That's when I realized something ugly. She wanted me to flip, to argue, to get jealous, because that would make this whole coffee thing okay. She was hoping for an excuse. Instead, I smiled, paid the check, held the door open for her like always. She gave me a sweet kiss in the parking lot. "You're not like most guys." "No, I'm not. Most guys don't see the setup until it's too late." But I saw it, and I was already working on my exit plan. We got home around 6. She kicked off her shoes and said she was going to shower. I nodded, pulled out my laptop, and sat at the kitchen table while the water ran upstairs. I opened our email confirmation for the mountain retreat next week. King Suite, couples massage, romantic dinner for 2. I stared at it like it was someone else's life. Then I opened a new tab, typed in solo vacation packages near Sedona. Warm weather, clear skies, desert silence. No couples packages. 1 king bed, single occupancy. A few listings popped up. I scrolled until I found one with a private casita, private pool. No frills. Just peace. My phone buzzed. Text from Brian, buddy from work. "Dude, next week's gonna be sick. You better be ready to unplug." I stared at the screen for a second, then typed back. "Change of plans. Going solo." He responded with the confused face emoji. I didn't reply. I booked the casita, forwarded the confirmation to my personal Gmail. Then I went back and deleted the old one. Every trace, receipt, calendar event, credit card alert, gone. She came downstairs 20 minutes later, hair wet, skin glowing, wearing the soft cotton pajamas I bought her last Christmas. She curled up next to me on the couch and rested her head on my shoulder like nothing in the world was off. "I can't wait for next weekend," she said. "I've been needing this trip so bad." I clicked my laptop closed. "It's gonna be unforgettable." She smiled, eyes closed, face soft. I kept smiling too, but not for the same reason. My chest felt hollow, like something cracked wide open and let all the air out. I wasn't even mad. I was just done. Like a switch flipped and I knew I couldn't come back from it. She kept talking, about how she hoped it'd snow just a little, about the hot tub, the fireplace, how romantic it was all gonna be. I nodded, arms around her, listening like it mattered. Didn't. Later that night, she climbed into bed and fell asleep fast, still wrapped in this perfect little lie she thought we were both living in. I stayed up, sat at the kitchen counter again, Lights off, laptop open. I checked the new booking, double-checked it, forwarded it to another backup email I hadn't used in a while. I even checked my work calendar, cleared the couple's retreat title and updated it to just personal time off. No one would ask. No one would know. It wasn't about making some big dramatic exit. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want some speech about trust or boundaries or how I needed to grow up. I wanted silence, space, clean air, and I was taking it. She came downstairs to grab a glass of water around midnight, barefoot, rubbing her eyes, half asleep. "You coming to bed?" "Yeah, in a bit," I said. She padded back upstairs without a second thought. I stared at her back as she walked away. That's when I realized she didn't feel guilty. Not even a little. This wasn't some big emotional dilemma for her. She wasn't losing sleep over it. Because to her, it was just coffee. It was just Drew. But I'd seen the way she lit up when she said his name. I'd seen that kind of spark before. Years ago. Back when we still had it. Now it was just a memory. And she was chasing it again with someone else. I sat there until 2 a.m. Just me and my laptop, the quiet hum of the fridge, and the slow sinking certainty that my marriage had already ended. It was just waiting for someone to say it out loud. Next morning, I called the resort. "Hi, I need to cancel a reservation," I said. The woman on the line asked for the name and confirmation number. I gave her both. She said it was non-refundable. I said I didn't care. She offered credit for a future stay. I said no thanks. By the time I hung up, it was gone. Poof. The romantic weekend she kept going on about just erased. I pulled up the casita details again. Verified check-in time, confirmed the rental car. Looked at the route from the airport. Easy drive, no traffic zones. I was building my way out piece by piece. Then I logged into our joint bank account. Transferred a chunk of money into mine. Not everything. Just enough to cover the trip and leave her with no excuses. She was upstairs folding laundry, humming to herself, still living in this fantasy version of us. I started packing early, bottom of the closet, back of the dresser. Socks, shirts, chargers, passport, just in case. Nothing loud, nothing obvious. I kept the suitcase zipped and stashed in the garage behind a stack of storage bins. She walked in while I was checking flights again. "You know they might have snow next week?" I packed our gloves together. Yours were still in the coat closet. I smiled. "Thanks, babe." She leaned down and kissed my cheek. Like everything was normal. Later that night, I grilled steaks for dinner. Opened her favorite bottle of wine. Set the table. She came down in a sundress, glowing again like she was trying just enough. Not too much, but enough to be noticed. Halfway through the meal, she wiped her mouth and said, "I'm meeting Drew tomorrow. Just coffee, like I said." I nodded. "I remember." She tilted her head. "You really don't care?" I shrugged. "You're grown. I'm not your keeper." She came around behind me, wrapped her arms around my shoulders, pressed her cheek to mine. "You're not like other guys," she whispered. "Most would be insecure." I didn't move, didn't answer. She kissed the side of my neck and walked off to start the dishes. I just sat there, staring at the wine glass, feeling like I was watching a movie I already knew the ending to. That night after she fell asleep, I checked her Instagram. She'd posted a story from earlier that day, her smiling at a coffee shop, captioned, "Reconnecting with old friends. Life's too short for drama." That word, reconnecting, hit like a slap. It wasn't even subtle. And she posted it publicly. Like it was nothing. Like I wouldn't see it. Or worse, like she didn't care if I did. I clicked through the rest of her stories. A few selfies. Pic of our dog. One of her wine glass with a romantic filter. Everything curated. Polished. Performed. I studied the photo of her and Drew's coffee. 2 cups. His watch in the corner of the frame. Cropped just enough to seem innocent. But I know her style. That was intentional. She thought she was clever. She thought if she kept it casual, I wouldn't call it what it was. But I didn't need to call it anything. I already knew what I was doing. She could sip lattes and post whatever she wanted. I was 10 steps ahead, slipping out the back while she thought I was still clapping from the front row. I checked my emails one more time. Everything was booked. Car, flight, hotel. I had an alarm set for Monday morning. For 30 sharp, I wouldn't even need to say goodbye. Friday morning, she was up earlier than usual. The shower had been running for over 20 minutes before I even got out of bed. I came downstairs, poured coffee, sat at the kitchen island while the house filled with the smell of citrus and something floral, new perfume. Strong. Definitely not one I'd ever bought her. She walked in wearing a blue dress I hadn't seen in years. Tight at the waist, soft fabric that moved when she walked. Hair curled. Full makeup. Got a meeting later, she said, grabbing her purse. I sipped my coffee. Enjoy yourself. She looked at me, like she was waiting for something. A question. A reaction. But I didn't give her one. She left around noon. Kissed me on the cheek out of habit. I didn't flinch, didn't follow her out, didn't watch her pull out of the driveway. Instead, I went to the garage, pulled the suitcase out from behind the bins, carried it upstairs and laid it flat on the bed. Started packing for real. 3 changes of clothes, shaving kit, phone charger, couple books. I cleaned up the kitchen after lunch, ran the dishwasher, took out the trash. No reason to leave a mess behind. Around 2:15, she texted, running a little late. Meeting got moved to 2:30. Should be back by 5. I stared at the screen for a second. Typed back, have fun. Then I silenced the phone and slid it into my bag. I double-checked the flight details. Printed a hard copy of the boarding pass just in case. Set my alarm for 4:30 a.m. By 4:45, she still wasn't home. 5:15, the garage door finally opened. I stood at the window but stayed out of sight. Watched her step out of the car, smiling to herself like she'd just won a prize. When she walked in, she was flushed, cheeks glowing, hair a little out of place. She kicked off her shoes, and that's when I noticed. Brand new heels. Beige, not cheap. Hey, she said, too cheery. Sorry I'm late. Coffee ran a little long. I nodded. All good. She moved fast, poured herself a glass of wine like she was parched. I stayed at the counter, arms crossed, watching. She leaned against the fridge, swirling the glass. It was nice. Caught up on a lot. Wild how some people don't change. Huh. Her voice had that extra lift, like she was trying to act casual, but every word was floating above the ground. I smiled. Glad you had a good time. Her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it, didn't move to pick it up. I did. Screen lit up. Message preview. Drew. Had a great time today. You looked amazing. Next time, dinner? Smiley face. I set the phone back down without a word. She didn't notice, or pretended not to. I walked to the hall closet, grabbed my suitcase, and rolled it to the front door. The sound of the wheels on the tile echoed through the whole house. She turned wine glass halfway to her lips. I didn't say anything, didn't explain. She stared, confused. I just locked eyes with her for a second. And then I turned, walked upstairs, and zipped up the last bag. I rolled the suitcase back into the closet that night. She never asked why it was out. Or maybe she did, but not out loud. All weekend I played it cool. She was chipper, bouncing around the house like we were newlyweds again. Couldn't stop talking about our trip. The hikes, the spa, the food, how we'd sleep in and unplug. I smiled when I needed to, nodded in the right spots, acted like the man she thought I still was. Saturday morning, she made pancakes. Wore my t-shirt in the kitchen like she used to. I kissed her cheek and thanked her. Inside, I felt like a stranger wearing my own face. She put on a movie that night, curled into my side with popcorn and a blanket. I kept my arm around her and watched the clock. Sunday afternoon, she packed our bags, folded our snow jackets, stacked gloves and scarves, laughed when she found a pair of hand warmers in her old coat pocket. I told her to leave mine in the car. I barely slept that night, stared at the ceiling from midnight until my alarm buzzed at 4:30 sharp. She was dead asleep, curled up on her side, mouth slightly open. I stood there for a second, just looking at her. Not out of love, out of disbelief. This woman, lying in my bed, Had no idea I was already gone. I showered fast, dressed in silence, grabbed my bag. Didn't touch a single thing that wasn't mine. Left the charger she always stole. Left the hoodie she liked to sleep in. Left the note I almost wrote, then thought, why give her closure she never gave me? I walked out the front door without making a sound. Didn't look back. Outside, the cold stung my face. The world was quiet, still asleep. I loaded the bag into the trunk, backed out of the driveway, and didn't touch the brake until I hit the airport turn-in. Inside, it was quiet, too early for crowds. Just a few travelers in hoodies and tired eyes. I grabbed a black coffee, found my gate, and sat near the window. Sun wasn't even up yet. Boarded when they called my group. Window seat. No one next to me. Just before takeoff, my phone buzzed. Where the hell are you? Did you take the car? Call me. Now. I put it on airplane mode. Sat back. Closed my eyes. Felt the engines hum under my seat as we lifted off. Watched the city shrink under the clouds. Didn't feel guilt. Just quiet. 3 hours later, we touched down in the desert southwest. Warm air hit my face the second I stepped outside. Dry, still, clean. I grabbed the rental. Drove out of the city. Past the strip malls and gas stations. Into silence. Desert opened up like a blank page. No snow. No past. The resort was tucked into a red rock canyon, half hidden by cactus and sun-faded signs. I checked in, gave a fake smile to the front desk guy, took the key card, and found my casita. It smelled like cedar and linen. I dropped the bag by the bed, walked to the sliding doors, pulled them open. Sunlight poured in. I stepped outside, took one deep breath, and smiled. I dropped my bag by the bed, stepped out onto the patio, and let the sun hit me full in the face. No coat, no scarf, just warmth. 10 minutes later, I was poolside with a cold drink in hand. Some frozen tequila thing the bartender suggested. I didn't care. It was strong and quiet out, and for the first time in months, my shoulders dropped without me thinking about it. No phone buzzing, no pretending, just silence and sun. I kicked back on the lounger, closed my eyes, and let everything bleed out of my system. The fake smiles, the careful words, the games. I could finally breathe. Maybe an hour passed, maybe more. Then a group of women showed up, mid-30s, maybe early 40s. Loud, but not annoying. Just the sound of people having fun. One of them peeled off from the group and sat in the lounger next to mine. Light brown hair, messy bun. Sunglasses. Tank top with a hospital logo on it. She glanced over. You here alone? I turned my head. I am now. She smirked. That sounds like a story. I shrugged. Maybe later. She held out her hand. Rachel, radiology tech, came down from Kansas with 2 of my coworkers. I shook it. Jason, from Colorado, taking a break. From what? I gave her a half smile. All of it. She laughed once, soft and real. Well, here's to the break. We didn't talk much after that. Just sat there, comfortable. She read something on her phone. I let my drink melt down to ice. Eventually, she rejoined her friends and left me in peace. That night, I changed into a button-down, jeans, and went to the hotel restaurant. Ordered the ribeye, medium rare, glass of wine. Sat by the window while the last light dropped behind the cliffs. I was alone, but I wasn't lonely. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't performing. I wasn't bracing for something. I wasn't waiting to be disappointed. I was just eating steak in the desert. After dinner, I went back to the casita, sat on the bed, took a deep breath. Then I turned my phone back on. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Dozens of missed calls, voicemails, messages stacked in little gray boxes. From her sister, from Brian. The first one was, "Where are you?" Then, "Are you okay?" Then, "Call me right now." Then, "What is this?" Then, "You're acting crazy." Then, "You're scaring me." Then, "Can we please talk?" Then, "Please." Then, "This isn't funny." Then, "I don't understand what you're doing." Then, "I love you." I scrolled. Read them all. Felt nothing. Then I took a picture. Me by the pool, drink in hand, sunglasses on, blue sky behind me. Captioned it, "Living my best life. You should try it." Sent it to her. Just her. Then I powered the phone off again, dropped it on the nightstand, and climbed into bed. Didn't toss. Didn't turn. Didn't stare at the ceiling. I slept harder than I had in years. I woke up to the sound of birds and the smell of salt and sunscreen drifting in through the cracked patio door. No buzzing phone. No tension. Just stillness. By the time I walked into the resort's little breakfast spot, Rachel and her crew were already halfway through pancakes and mimosas. She spotted me, waved me over. "Hey, loner," she said. "Grab a seat. We're doing vacation stories." I pulled out the chair next to her, nodded to the other two women. Didn't catch their names, but they were friendly. Midwest accents, all laughs and no filter. One of them leaned in. "So what's your story, Jason? You here hiding out from the feds or just ducking your in-laws?" I smirked. "Wife met up with her ex, told me not to worry about it. So I left." Their jaws actually dropped. Rachel blinked. "Wait, for real?" "Yup." The other one raised her eyebrows. "Like, she told you?" Pretty much handed it to me like a weather report. "No guilt. Just coffee," she said. "And you just dipped?" I nodded, cutting into my eggs. Didn't yell. Didn't argue. Just decided I was done. Rachel let out a sharp laugh. "Damn, that's cold. But honestly, respect." The table went quiet for a second. Then they all raised their glasses. "To clean exits," one of them said. We clinked. We spent the rest of the day down at the beach. White sand, barely any wind. I hadn't felt that loose in years. Rachel swam circles around the rest of us. She was loud, funny, sharp as hell, but never pushy. We laid out on towels after lunch, sun beating down. She turned her head toward me. "You really done?" she asked. "Yeah," I said without thinking. She smiled. "Good. Some people stay way too long where they're not wanted." I stared out at the ocean for a second. Didn't say anything. Just let the sun burn it all clean. Later that afternoon, I turned my phone on for the first time since last night. The messages had tripled. She'd gone from confused to desperate. "I just want to talk. This isn't okay. You can't just leave like that. You're being immature. We're married. Are you even alive? I'm calling the cops if you don't answer me in the next hour." That one made me laugh. I replied once. "I'm not missing. Just done." Blocked the number again. Powered the phone off. That night, Rachel and I had dinner, just the two of us. Simple place on the property. Patio seating. Warm breeze. String lights above us. No tension. No expectations. No pretending to be anything but two people enjoying a quiet meal. We talked about work, travel, family drama. She told me about patients faking back pain and her first time doing CPR. I told her about growing up outside Denver, fishing with my uncle, how I used to think I'd be a mechanic. She didn't push for more. I didn't offer more. It wasn't a date, but it was better than any date I'd had in years. Just real, calm, easy, no games. Friday morning, I woke up early. Sky still soft and pink outside the patio doors. I sat out on the balcony with a mug of hotel coffee, feet up on the railing, phone in hand. This was the last thing I had to do. I took a breath and hit call. She picked up before the first ring finished. "Jason." Her voice cracked. "Oh my God. Where are you? Are you okay? Please don't hang up." I didn't say anything right away. Just let her fill the silence. "I thought something happened. I was about to call the police again." "Why would you do this? What is wrong with you?" "I'm fine," I said. "I needed space. You could have just talked to me. You disappeared. That's cruel." "No," I said. "Cruel is sitting across from your husband, talking about coffee with your ex like it's a dentist appointment." She went quiet. I kept going. "You didn't ask how I felt. You didn't care what it looked like. You already made the decision. You were just checking to see if I'd roll over." "It was just coffee," she snapped. "Nothing happened." I waited a beat. Then what about the text from Drew? Silence again. I could almost hear her swallow. I didn't plan for that, she said finally. He texted after. I didn't even reply. But you posted him. You put it out there like it was cute. You knew what you were doing. I was just being honest. No, you were being careful. I cut in. Careful enough to crop his face out. Careful enough to call it a meeting. Careful enough to test my reaction before doing what you wanted anyway. I didn't cheat, Jason. You disrespected me, lied to my face and smiled while doing it. She started crying. Real crying this time. Not loud, just quiet gasps through the phone. I love you, she whispered. No, I said. You love the idea of me. The version that smiles, pays the bills and says, sure, no problem, while you chase butterflies. That's not true. It is. I kept my voice calm. No yelling. No swearing. Just clean. I've already contacted a lawyer. We'll split everything fair. You won't have to fight me. Please. Jason, can we talk in person? I made a mistake, but we can fix this. We've been through worse. No, I said. This is the line. You stepped over it. I'm not pulling you back. She broke down again. Said she didn't mean to hurt me. That it wasn't serious. That she never thought I'd actually leave. That part hit. She didn't think I'd leave. That's the truth. I didn't say anything else. Just took the phone off my ear, hit the red button, and blocked the number again. Set the phone down on the table beside my coffee. Felt like I lost 10 pounds just doing it. A knock came at the sliding door. Rachel stood there in her bathing suit and a towel, holding 2 drinks. You good? She asked. I smiled and opened the door. Yeah, I said. I'm good. We walked down to the beach together. The desert sun stuck with me. I came back tan, clear-headed, and finally breathing like a man who hadn't realized how much air he'd been missing. Brian picked me up from the airport. Didn't ask much. Just gave a nod and patted my shoulder. Let me crash at his place for a few nights, no questions. You gonna tell me what's next? He asked on night 2 while we drank beers on his back porch. Yeah, I said. Lawyer first. Then I'll figure the rest out. He didn't press. Just handed me another beer and said, good. That Friday, I went back to the house while she was at work. Her car was gone, garage empty. The place was still spotless like I never left. I walked through it slow. Every room felt staged, like someone else lived there. Someone trying too hard to show off a perfect life. The framed photo in the hallway, us in Breckenridge 2 winters ago, felt like a damn prop. Her favorite throw blanket on the couch, folded neat. Our wedding album still on the shelf, untouched. It all felt fake, like a museum of a marriage that died a while ago. I started packing. Clothes first, then shoes, tools from the garage, couple books, some stuff from the office. Tossed the wedding photos in a drawer without a second glance. Halfway through boxing up the bathroom stuff, she called. I let it ring. She called again. Then texted, please, I just want to talk. Face to face. I stared at it. Then typed, 1 hour. At the house. That's it. She showed up 35 minutes later. Eyes red, no makeup, hair a mess. Looked like she hadn't slept in days. She stepped inside, voice cracking. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. I stood near the staircase, arms crossed. You wanted to talk. So talk. Her eyes darted around the half-packed boxes. We can fix this. You didn't even give me a chance. I gave you 10 years, I said. And then I gave you a chance when you brought up coffee with your ex like it was a PDA meeting. It was just. No, I cut in. It wasn't just anything. It was you lying by pretending it was no big deal. Then posting it. Then letting him text you like you were single. Tears slid down her face. I didn't sleep with him. I swear. I nodded. Good. Because I didn't leave because you cheated. I left because you disrespected me and expected me to smile through it. She stepped closer. Jason, please don't throw us away. We built a life. And you gambled it for attention from a guy you left in high school. She shook her head hard. This is a mistake. No, I said, grabbing my keys off the table. The mistake was thinking I'd tolerate being second. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I picked up the last box, walked past her to the door, and didn't look back. 3 months later, it was done. Divorce finalized. No drawn-out fight, no courtroom drama. Just signatures and silence. We sold the house. She took the dining set. I kept the truck. Split the savings right down the middle. I didn't ask for more. Didn't want anything that felt like hers. I got a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. Quiet, nothing fancy. Clean walls, decent light, no shared closets. Started going to the gym again. Got back into a routine. Protein shakes. Early mornings. Heavy bags. That ache in my chest finally faded. Replaced by soreness I chose. Brian dragged me out a few weekends. Reconnected with a couple old friends I hadn't seen in years. Guys who used to call and stopped when every answer from me was, "Can't tonight. She's not feeling it." Rachel and I kept in touch. Texts here and there. Pictures of dumb stuff. Inside jokes. Eventually, she drove out to visit for a long weekend. No pressure. No expectations. Just two people who'd been honest with each other when it counted. We sat out on my tiny balcony one night, beers in hand, legs stretched out. "You seem lighter," she said, watching the sun dip behind the buildings. "I am," I told her. "First time in years. I actually feel free." She smiled but didn't say anything back. She didn't need to. A few days later, I was grabbing groceries at the local store. Turned down the frozen aisle and saw her. My ex-hair pulled back, same jacket she used to steal from my side of the closet. She saw me, started to open her mouth. I kept walking, didn't slow down, didn't smile, didn't stop. I said everything I needed to. People ask if I regret how I left. If I should have stayed, talked it out, tried harder. I don't. Not for a second. Because I learned something I should have known a long time ago. You can't negotiate for respect. You draw your line. Someone crosses it, you walk. That's not bitterness. That's clarity. And I've never been more sure.